Hey everybody, welcome back. We are in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 7 today. Fine speech is not becoming to a fool, still less is false speech to a prince. Now this verse talks about fools and princes, but really the emphasis is not so much on a lesson for fools. The lesson is for the prince. And I remember Solomon was the king of Israel, and much of the book of Proverbs, and maybe even all of it, was written, at least structurally, to his son. We've seen that more in the beginning, but even in the middle, these things are for his son, who were princes. And he's saying, fine speech is not becoming to a fool, still less is false speech to a prince. So let's look at the first part of that. Fine speech is not becoming to a fool. You ever known somebody that really thinks that they're important, that thinks they're special, that thinks they're somebody, and they talk really grandiose, and they use quotations that are kind of wrong, and they've always got big, deep things to say? I remember seeing this person, and I think it was on TV or online or something, and he was not really saying anything that was that interesting. But every time he would make the same, he would pause and lean in like, you've never heard anything like that. And the host was like, yeah, you've met people like that. Maybe you have family members that you love them, but maybe they're living wild, or they've wrecked their whole life, but they've always got something to say. Somebody who's been divorced 10 times and they want to give you advice on relationships, and it all sounds very nice, but it's like, but you're not really living this out. So we get that. Fine speech is not becoming to a fool. Talking right is not going to make you less foolish. So knowing that, neither is false speech, or actually still less, is false speech to a prince. So as we look at that, and maybe, especially as a prince looking at a foolish person who talks real nice, and I think of the guy, here you go, from My Fair Lady. Remember Eliza Doolittle's father who comes in? He's very eloquent, and he can persuade his people and talk into anything, but he's a loser. He's a drunk. He's kind of a comical character, but that's the idea. You look at somebody like that, he says, as bad as that is, it's worse for you as a prince, somebody with authority, somebody with power, somebody with responsibility, to lie and to speak falsely. And we know this to be true. We still don't like it when we find out that somebody who is in authority over us, especially a politician of some kind, has lied. We even though we kind of know that this goes on, when you see it in front of you, we get angry because we know this is not what leaders ought to do. And I would say this for you as well. You all have responsibilities somewhere in your life. And the Lord is not a respecter of persons and station. So treat yourself as the kind of person where false speech doesn't become you. And everybody loves to say, well, I have to lie because of my situation. No, you don't. I've been in those situations. I've had people tell me, you're going to have to lie. You got to lie, Tyler. You got to tell. If you don't lie, you'll never get ahead in this. Try it with honesty. You'll get ahead. And if you're in a situation, by the way, where lying is the only way to get ahead, get out. Go find something else that's going to improve with honesty, not with lying, because that's a foundation of sand if there ever was one. But let me throw one more thing in here, one more little nugget for the day. I have found that very often people who are they're on the rise. Let's say they're becoming educated, or they're getting wiser as a person, and they tend to outpace their friends. Maybe you're getting smarter or more educated than your friends, or you're becoming smarter and wiser. You've been married longer, and you're starting to see some of the foolishness of that way of living. And you've still got some friends that are kind of bringing you down. Don't stoop to their level. Don't feel like, well, to be one of the guys, to be, to stay real and to be part of my people, I've got to reduce the way I talk. That is also false speech. Acting stupid is not becoming for somebody who is not stupid. All right? Acting like an idiot, if you're not one, don't do that. Don't lower yourself. You should be proud of your advancement and proud of your station if it's growing. And if somebody's going to try to bring you down because you're not talking foolishly anymore, then that's not a good friend to you. It's false speech to try and hide it through, trying to be the way you were when you're not that way anymore. Anyway, just a couple thoughts for the day. See you next time.